Does thinking about this upset you? I'm going to await any movement. Are you trying to play with the green light? It is. It's getting colder over here. Are you trying to cuddle me?
Hell no, I'm getting out of here.
Is there anyone up here? That gave legit goosebumps there.
She jumped off the bridge.
Are you counting me? So, this is night 3 of BS Paranormal's Haunted Road Trip, and I am at the Hotel Defuniak. This is my room. I got the most haunted room in the hotel, room number 8. But what I wanted to do right now is test, You don't want to play that game? Okay, we won't play that game. You know? Are you tired? Do you want to go outside and play? You do want to go outside and play. I wish you could go outside and play. I think every kid deserves to go outside and play. Like, what's the point of being a kid if you can't go outside and play? I opened up the window there earlier. It's actually really nice out there. Do you ever get to go out? Is that a no? Yeah. I don't know. Looking back, I wish I would have gotten to go outside just a little bit more. You know, it's not like I couldn't. It's just I made silly choices as a kid, you know. I thought, oh, this has to go this way and that way. But the reality is, we can choose to do a lot of things. Are you wondering what I'm doing right now? Is someone trying to sit in my lap right now? It is. It's getting colder over here. Are you trying to cuddle me? That's sweet. Well, I will take a hug any day over seeing you move something around or you play with a ball or what have you. I will take a hug any day. Hi. I wanted to cut into this episode and just explain what happened there. I don't feel like the footage by itself really gives away the full experience I had. And you'll see at the end of this, I sit down and I have a conversation with Bradley about it. But right here, I feel like I can really put into words better than I have exactly what happened. Um, so I'm doing a thermal session. I had just learned that evening the name of the oldest of the two girl spirits who are in this room. I learned that some tricks other ghost hunters have used to get a response out of her, so I tried to implement some of those myself. And the way I did that was I just tried to use empathy. I empathized as best as I could with a 100-year-old, 10-year-old ghost. So whatever you take that to be. I was sitting there and this wave of cold just like came over me. It kind of started on my right side and then kind of went past me, and then I felt an extremely cold um, thing, like mass. It's hard to describe. It was like a cold mass on my knee, on my left knee, and I'm sitting there and I'm filming and I'm trying to like put everything together and understand kind of what's happening in the situation. I'm like, okay, this is pretty weird. Um, but it felt like someone climbing onto my knee. Like this feeling came immediately following that cold spot. And again, I had been at Bradley's house. You know, I was hanging out with him and his family. He has a very young daughter, and she always climbs up into my lap. And it was a similar feeling to that, but very different. Like the weight, the proportions were there, just different. I can't put it into the exact words that it felt at the time, but like that's what was there. And so there was this cold heaviness on my knee, on my like left leg. And then um it felt like an embrace, like not like someone putting their arms around you, but someone like putting their body up against you, almost like a snuggle. I think in the video I called it a cuddle. Like it was kind of like a hug with no arms, if that makes sense. And so that was what I was experiencing there in that moment. And then it was a lot of emotion. It was almost like my emotional state completely shifted from just being kind of blah, like kind of not feeling much of anything, to just like sorrow. I felt really sad after it happened. So I have some logical explanations for what might have happened, that includes, my mind just running away with the moment. So I felt the cold come across me, and I was enveloped in the stories that I was told earlier that day. I was involved in the moment, being there in the investigation by myself. Um, and so the experience might have just been completely psychological. And I can accept that. I can accept that my brain goofed and this weird thing happened, and that's the rational explanation behind it. I think anyone who is anyone will tell you that that's probably what happened. You had a very strange psychological episode based on your environment, based probably on a little bit of fear that you were just kind of pushing down, doing this particular investigation, and your imagination got the better of you. The other side of it is, I think people who believe in the paranormal will probably say I had an experience. But the reality is I was the only one there, so there's no proof. I do have a little bit more of the session to show you, and maybe you see something in the space that we missed. Maybe you have your own interpretation of what you think I experienced. Um, Feel free to drop that in the comments. And here's the rest of the session. Now I'm going to go next door and see if there's anyone over there. You have fun, okay? So it's the second day at Hotel Defuniak, and it's my last day here on the haunted road trip. Last night I did a lot of viewing of the room. Today I'm going to do some thermal viewing, but I also kind of wanted to focus on trying to get physical objects to move. So what I've done is I've set up a ball, and I got some masking tape, something that won't damage anything at all. Put it on the floor, and I'm going to await any movement from the ball. Now, the camera's not going to be on the ball the whole time. Again, I think it's going to stay in the square indefinitely, unless someone comes in the room and kicks it. Whether human or not, most likely going to be a human, though. Over here, we have a writing tablet, and the way it actually works is pretty cool. So what you do is you run water. Oh crap. You don't let it fall into the sink. You wet your brush, and you just dollop on it. That's all you do. That's all you do. Now, over time, the water will dry. It does go away, it fades, but if something appears on here, I can snap a picture of it and add it to the 4 dots, the big spot, and the S that I created. So there's that. Then I have a toy truck here that can easily be pushed off with just a slight little tap. Just like the slightest tap and knock that thing off. So that's kind of what I got the room set up with today. Right now I'm downloading last night's footage and really just yesterday in general's footage. I will be setting up a thermal camera over here in the corner in just a bit. And it should get most of the room. And then I'm going to get back to looking over the data from Hampton and downtown Montgomery. See if anything pops up there. But yeah, that's it. Yep. I guess that's a thing. That's why I have 2 cameras. Alright. Now, that's unusual. It was my reflection. Like, that's my reflection. Pushed up against it. Nope. Huh. Just gonna back away. Oh yeah. Everything in this room might be better than room number 8. They got the same bed. Uh-huh. Alright. Do you see more colors now than you used to? Are those colors pretty? Does thinking about this upset you? It does? Do you want me to change the subject? Okay. You know, it's summertime right now. There are some pretty cool flowers in blossom. Did you used to pick some honeysuckles? I used to make a good honeysuckle tea. Did you stop responding?
Here's the door.
So, Hotel Defuniak is one of the historic downtown buildings. It has old stories.
According to this, then you gets reported a certain room. We call it the Avery room. That seems like most of the reports are.
Yeah, the aviary room. Yeah, room number 8.
What's the history behind that room?
So, the stories vary, and I really haven't been able to pinpoint one story. And maybe if you're from the 850 and you know a little bit more than what I was able to research, please comment below. But from what I understand, there was one of two things that happened. One is a mom went crazy, killed her 2 daughters, and then jumped out a window. Or a man raped and killed 2 daughters and the mother. And threw the woman out the window to make it look like she killed the daughters and committed suicide.
No good investigation, no final.
I don't know. To be honest, it's a story. I don't even know if it's true.
And that was in the early,
Yeah.
1900s anyway.
It was like 1910s, yeah.
So, you wouldn't really have good, not like we do now. Whew, overall, man, how was it? I'm jealous. Man, I wish I was there. Golly.
So, I kind of want to tell my story of, like, kind of the events as they played out over the course of that afternoon and the next day.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
because you were able to spend 2 nights.
Yeah. So I got there mid-afternoon. They agreed to check me in around 2 p.m. instead of 3. That was very kind of them. And it was interesting because when I walked in, as soon as I got to the front,
And you got room 8, right?
I did. Well,
room.
and that was the fun part was when I walked in, I went to the clerk. She was like, "You're a roommate?" I was like, "Yeah." "You're a ghost hunter, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a paranormal investigator." And she was just like, "You believe?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Wait, what?"
They're always taken back when somebody asks, and you're like, "You don't believe?" And I'm like, "I believe." They're like,
Yeah.
"How does this work?"
Yeah. So, you know, and I kind of told her, like, I'm kind of here more to debunk than I am to prove, because I don't really think there's anything to prove. So they set me up in room 8, and I'll tell you, before I went in, I was filming myself in the Jeep. I was like filming myself, and I was talking to myself, and I kind of reviewed the story in my head a few times, you know, about the girls or whatever, you know, and the history of the place. You know, it's a pretty old building, and so I immediately went in with the preconception, okay, if there is anything here, it's going to be these 2 girls, because that's what everyone says is there.
Yeah.
And
A lot of the stories.
keep in mind, I've been spending the nights with you and your family. You've been nice enough to keep me here since I got here from Colorado for, what, 3 days?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. At that point.
and so, you know, you have 3 daughters, one son, but you're three girls who I love very dearly, but like they're always there. First thing I hear when I walk in the roommate is a little girl giggle. And so the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, the stories are there. I've been here with three girls. So like, yeah, it's like, I'm excited. I'm also excited. Let's not, like, and that's one thing I want you to understand as an audience. Do I believe in ghosts? No. But is there something exciting about the adventure to go out there and just do this? Yes. Absolutely. Being a paranormal investigator is so fun. It's exciting. You get to go to a new place, meet new people, share stories, put yourself in historical places. There is a magic in that. There is something special about that. And, no one's immune to the psychology of it. It can get in your head. And after I made that video, honestly, in the afternoon, not much happened. Right. I set up the gear, I went down, ate some dinner, and then I come back to the room, 6 o'clock, sun's still up, decided to do a K2 session.
Yeah.
And that's when I started scratching my beard, and I went, all right.
So you're saying some questionable things. Okay. Tell us about the next.
Well, I want to talk about the K2 for a second. What does a K2 meter do?
Yeah, that's a good thing.
It is both a EMF recorder, but it also does more. So it has lights that light up when there's movement around it. It'll light up. So if it's like shaken or bumped, it'll light up. So it's both sensitive to movement and it's sensitive to electromagnetic fields. Mm-hmm. And do I really trust an object that is both the EMF detector, like an electrician's, and more? Because what's that and more?
Right.
So, I mean, again, you saw the session. Judge for yourself. Did I have a paranormal encounter? Because I followed all the rules. I did everything you're supposed to do when you have one of those encounters. And you judge for yourself. Do you think I had something, or do you think I should keep my mind here on the ground, framed in logic?
I think you had something. I think you talked to somebody, maybe the older sister, Samantha.
Yeah.
I think you talked to Samantha. Because the stories are she's interactive, the little sister's not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about the little clips of what's possibly the ball kind of moving.
Yeah,
and I was the first one to bring up air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
But it would only move a little bit and then stop. You had the K2 meter holding it.
Mm-hmm. It was balanced against it.
So,
because I was like, oh, if something's going to touch it, it should like, the energy should make the K2 go off.
In my opinion, I don't think it was the air. If it was the air, to me it'd be more of a consistent blowing it. And the air was on the other side of the room. It said. And if the little sister is shy, maybe she's just scared of, pushing it off. Again, if she was murdered by her mom or this man, she would probably be scared to make a big fuss,
But here's the thing, isn't the K2 meter supposed to pick up spiritual energy? Why wasn't it flashing when that ball was moving if it was a spiritual energy?
That's another good question. Maybe she doesn't have enough energy to even fully move the ball or set it off. I don't know. Again, I wasn't there, but the video footage is there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll argue on the side of, I think it was a little sister trying to move it. Like I said, I was the first one to bring up air conditioner. Just my experience with air blowing, it's going to make it pretty consistent. But,
so you think if it was the air, it actually probably blown it off?
Well, either that or it would be moving the whole time. It's like take a piece of paper in front of a fan. It's going to move the whole time. Because air conditioners don't shift the way they blow air. And so that's why I lean more towards that. More towards it wasn't air. And you ain't strong enough to blow that hard. So, so what do you think about the ball?
I have to stand by it's probably the air conditioning.
Okay.
Because I can't dismiss that, right? Like
Right,
if it's
right.
the logical option, I'm gonna stand by that one every time.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Let us know on the bottom.
Do you think the air's going to push a ball a little bit, stop pushing it, and then push it some more? I mean, let us know what you think.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to.
Well, first I need to talk about what happened after that. So I actually go down stairs. I get to talk to the GM a little bit, and he offered me room 7 for free the following day.
Oh yeah.
He was like, there's someone up there tonight, but room 6, 7, 8, like 11 and 12 were going to be completely empty. So like pretty much my half of the hallway was going to be completely silent for the rest of the next night. Because just the next night was going to be a slow night for them. And he did not mind doing that for me to investigate.
Very appreciative.
Yeah, so Ernie, you're a kind and generous man, and I appreciate the conversations we had and the service that you gave me.
Okay. I think we'll save the story that what you couldn't get on camera for last, which is very.
Well, in chronological events, it happened next.
Yeah. Well, we can.
Yeah.
So all right. Let's talk about what you couldn't get on camera. You couldn't get on voice recorder. We think we might have gotten something on thermal, but you felt it as plain as day.
Yep.
When you called me on the phone right now, man, I head to toe. There wasn't a part of my skin that didn't have goosebumps, and my hair, what little bit I got, was standing up.
All right.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Again, I want to preface this story with I am not immune to the psychology of suggestion. The power of suggestion is
strong.
It's immensely powerful in the human mind. Like,
and you tell me somebody who is immune to that, and I'll tell you they're lying.
Yep.
Everybody on this planet is not immune. No one is.
Yeah, nobody on this planet is immune to the power of suggestion. I had a very long conversation with the general manager, Ernie, about the paranormal experiences at this hotel. He told me names. So before that, I had some idea of who the names were based on what other employees had told me earlier that day. But he kind of clarified who was who, what was happening. And so I go up to my room after the K2 session happened, and after I went down for this conversation, a couple of like agreements that we made between us for like investigating the room, what that looks like, how to like get the information to him to review, so we could get permission to put it up on our channel here. And I would say this was probably around 8 o'clock, probably 8 o'clock at night. So I had my camera set up, and I decided to do a thermal session with the K2 kind of on the bed and my thermal in my hand. And again, you don't set these things up because you think that they're necessarily going to catch something, but you want to cover all your bases.
Yep.
And I will say the one mistake I made with the thermal being out is the thermal device is an attachment to the phone. So I wasn't able to use my regular phone recorder. I didn't have anything on the K2 meter. It was just my thermal in my hand. I had an IR system in the corner. I think I had another IR in another corner, and I was doing my thermal session. And something was, as I was doing the session, I was trying to contact Samantha because I finally understood which sister she was, what role we were playing. Again, when I did that K2 session you already saw, I didn't know the name. I was just asking her, are you one of the girls, or do you have someone here? Is there someone else here with you? But I learned her name was probably Sam, or Samantha. So I called her Sam. And I'm there with the thermal, and the air, I think, had just kicked on. But the thing is the air, A, wasn't really that powerful, and B, the air, like, it was on for maybe a couple of minutes during the start of the session. Then it switched off, and I continued with my thermal session. And I'm just asking yes or no questions. And as the cold air started to pulse around the room, you could actually see the K2 meter go off when the cold air went to where the K2 was. Mm-hmm. The K2 stopped going off and the cold air was pulsing more toward me. Mm-hmm. And then I could actually feel cold air approach me, and it was just like your youngest daughter crawled up into my lap and gave me a hug. Mm-hmm. And I even say it, I maintained my cool because I was like, am I imagining all of this? Like, that was the first, it's
right.
like, is this in my head? You know, did I have one too many drinks at dinner?
Even as a believer, I would be like, I think I might be imagining this.
Yeah, you know, like, am I a little bit crazy? You know, am I a little bit mad right now?
Putting air in here.
But you know, like, that was a pretty darn powerful experience. So I felt that, and I literally say on the camera, "Are you giving me a hug right now?" Like, because I was really confused at what I was feeling and what was happening, because my head said there should be someone here, like a small child,
yeah,
giving me a hug, and there is no one here. And so part of what I was doing the whole time was I was trying to coax the spirit into trusting me. And it wasn't artificial. I really wanted anything that was there, if there was anything there, to trust. Because at the end of the day, the only way I'm going to have viewers who believe in spirits
is if you do it right.
Yeah, like, not think I'm just a complete asshole and shutting them out, but I have to use actual ghost hunting tactics. I have to use ghost hunting methods
right.
in order to get results or to debunk. Because if I don't do that, then they're not going to consider my skeptical opinion a legitimate.
You can't debunk something that didn't happen anyway.
Right. So you know,
So that was a very real feeling.
It was powerful. It was powerful. And
I mean, you said it was like my youngest climbing in your lap, giving you a hug.
Yep.
So.
Which she does. Like, that's the thing she does. But like,
so that's amazing.
But again, was it all in my head? Was it the power of suggestion?
To feel that.
And
because we talked about my past, and I have felt things like that. There's no drinking involved, nothing. I just woke up. And I don't think that was power of anything. I think it was
couldn't have been
real at
sleep
that
paralysis
point.
or anything.
Not at all, because it was for a little bit. Like, it wasn't like 5, 10, 15 seconds. It honestly felt like days, but it didn't. It wasn't that long. And then just too many times things happened. I don't know if I could. I know the power of suggestion is a very powerful thing. I mean, you wake up every day and you tell yourself it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. If you wake up, this day sucks, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to look for all things to be bad. But I don't think that was power of suggestion, because I personally don't. When you told me over the phone, I was like, damn, if this don't turn his mind into thinking something could be there, I don't know what will. Yeah. So, when you put it all together, EMF, the EVP,
oh yeah, I need to talk about EMF real quick.
All that, when you
just real quick, let me hit the EMF thing. So other than the K2 meter in that session and the thermal session where I said it went off, and I don't have proof for that, I apologize for that, but when it came to the electricity in the rooms and in the hotel, I didn't get a single bit anywhere.
Good wiring. Good wiring.
Good wiring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that helps with the investigation. So that's awesome. I know you said light switches, lights, AC,
The
none of
TV.
that, none of that really.
Yeah, the TV and the clocks in the room were the only thing that gave off, and the telephone were the only things in the rooms that gave off, but those are naturally producing
Right.
objects.
And
Like,
you
they
were-
will naturally produce EMF fields.
You were far enough away from all of it that it
Oh,
didn't-
I unplugged the clock, and I plugged it back in
Yeah.
before I left.
So-
I tried my best to keep equipment away from the TV. When it wasn't when it was in use, I kept it away from the TV. When they weren't in use, it didn't matter. So
So let's compile it all together.
Yep.
Again, this is only the first night. You compile, okay, when you got there, every time we go into a hotel, we check it. But you spend a little extra time investigating the room.
Yeah. Making
sure, because we don't want the hotels to set up anything. We don't want them to have people there. We want to have all questionable doubt. So let's put everything together for the first night. You have some cold spots. You have a conversation, so to say, with the K2 meter. You have what feels like somebody climbing in your lap. You have what sounds to me like a clear yes. Her name is Samantha.
ball moving.
The ball moving. And a lot of it you can't really debunk, but you can't say, this is it. You put all that together, what's your take?
So for night one, it was enough for me to go to the general manager at 10 o'clock at night down in the bar, and I was a little frazzled, because again I kind of
And that's when you called me.
yeah,
It was about that
and again
time to
because again all this had been happening, I decided to shut the investigation down in real time. I set the room up for me to go to bed, but I left the equipment there running, but I left my room set up, and yeah, I just went down after everything was said and done, and I was like, I've had a hell of an evening. I had a heck of a night. And we sat down and we talked, and he agreed to give me room 7 the next day. And it was interesting. But my opinion on room 8 is kind of my opinion of the whole hotel, but I think I want to save that for my investigation on the next day.
Okay. Let me ask you this. If you were to leave after that night, investigation's over, you come back to my house, is it haunted or is it BS? Or
I don't know if it's in my mind or not.
because of everything going on, you can't really be a judge. Is that what you're saying?
That is exactly what I'm saying.
And that's a good way to do it. You need to step back.
Yep. And
But
here's the thing. Part of our show isn't just what we think. It's
What
also
do you
what
think?
you think.
What
Do you think it's real or do you think it's BS?
your voice when you called me was not normal. I don't really know how to explain it. It was just different. I could tell.
And you've known me longer than anyone except for my parents.
Right. And because you didn't send any messages, you just called. Normally we kind of text before. I could tell something had frazzled your mind and your brain, and then you tell me everything. And like I said, man, instantly, there wasn't a hair left laying on my body. It was standing. If you had left after day 1, I'd say that place is haunted. It's real. Samantha is there. Maybe even her little sister trying to play with the ball. Man, I think I would say it is haunted. Like you said, haunted as a hotel can be. You've said that before the investigation. You're like, some people are just saying hotels are as haunted as a hotel can be. I believe it's there. If you were to leave after day one, pull out, coming home.
But the thing is, there is a day two.
There is a day two, and you kind of spent that attempting to debunk anything else, any of the evidence that had happened.
And potentially capture more.
And potentially get more. Not just straight debunking, but okay, let's see if we can get something else.
Yep.
Alright, so here we go. Day two. What we got? What we got on day two? I know you sent me some things. I'm gonna say some disappointment, but also some good things. I kind of think Room 7 was kind of a
Dud.
disappointment. That's what I mean by disappointment. Like, supposedly 7 and 8 are haunted, but 8's the most. And after the first night of 8, I was hoping 7 had something, but that was kind of a disappointment,
It was.
What did you set up in 7? What did you do?
So 7, I set up the laser grid in the room because some of the ideas in there was that you can see someone walking past the window to the bed. So like maybe like a residual thing. So I was like, oh, the grid should catch this. I set up one of the more sensitive audio devices. I put the K2 meter on the bed with a camera on it so that like if it flashes, you can see it.
Right.
I left the room alone. I went in periodically to check the batteries, check, all the devices, make sure they work properly. But other than those periodical checks and a couple of EVP sessions here and there, that's all I did.
There was no noise or nothing other than when you walked in the room, dude. That was it. So
No, seriously, like
so Room 7's a dud. It's a bomb.
It did not come through. Actually, the general manager was a little disappointed as well because I shared that with him. I talked to him about it before I left, and he was just like, "Really, nothing?" I was like, "Not a thing."
Unfortunately.
No. I also investigated downstairs.
Let's talk about that.
The one piece of evidence I got from day 2, the one thing that I shared with you, was me walking down the steps to go downstairs. So first off, I received no evidence downstairs. I get down there to investigate downstairs. There's a couple of people kind of hanging around, and they kind of let me alone to do the thing. And those couple of people were actually employees, so they were very kind to do that, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Ernie, for helping me out. I did IR, I did audio, I walked through. I'll let you see some of the clips.
You did it all. Did you cover that room?
Yeah, it was nothing. I went down with thermal. Nothing.
But you said you had one little piece of evidence.
And that evidence was the audio I sent you. So as I was coming down the steps, I'm actually just thinking to myself kind of about what I want to do when I get down there. So I'm not talking. I'm not even breathing heavy. I'm just walking. You hear me go down the steps, and you hear kind of a whisper with the steps.
Yeah,
and
that's how I would explain
it.
And
it's not mine. I wasn't making any noise, but again, to you other skeptics out there, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, that was definitely you, man. That was definitely you. And you're lying. You just want the views, whatever. Fair. And again, that's all I can say to that is fair. Because the reason I am out there doing this, the reason I put money into this, the reason I'm taking the time to do this, is because I want to control the environment.
That's it.
I encourage you to do the exact same thing.
That's why we're sponsoring it ourselves.
Yep.
Nobody else is involved but the two of us.
Yep.
That is it. We have no crew. There's no crew. There's no camera people. There's no sound people. No editing.
No production.
There is nothing. It is the two of us.
We're
Sure,
two
that's-
guys and some cameras.
That's giving us a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. So yeah, the little whisper sound. Let's let him hear it. Okay, so now that they've heard it, it's a little creepy. It's a little creepy. Can I say maybe was that staircase attached to any other rooms or anything? Any other floors?
No, so the way the hotel works is its bottom floor is hotel services.
Mhm.
You go through a door, it's the restaurant.
Mhm.
And then you go upstairs and that's like 12 rooms. That's it. That's all there is to this place.
Okay, so it's not coming from another room, another floor. Okay.
And I will say the hotel was far more empty the second night than it was the first night.
Yeah. So let's take day one, day two, let's put it all together. Everything you have going, you've now had time to bring yourself back. I want to say maybe calm down, level out. You've had a while now.
And I've been able to go back over the evidence, put myself back in those places, remember the events and occurrences.
You went back over the evidence.
Even though clearly I'm still forgetting a few details.
You went over the evidence, and you've had time to de-escalate from the evidence.
Yep.
So you're level-headed, you're back right.
Yep.
What's your take on Hotel Defuniak?
I will say that I still do not feel like I am a reliable source.
Okay.
I think because I was there and experienced it, I think that puts me in one frame of bias.
Uh-huh.
And then I think because I want to approach this so logically and skeptically, that puts me in another frame of bias at the same time. So I don't think I can be honest with myself as someone who wants to ground themselves in science and I want to approach this logically. And to be honest, I don't think I'm smart enough or capable enough in other schools of knowledge to say this is the science behind what was happening.
Right.
So am I a qualified source to talk about the science that was happening? No, I'm not. Maybe someone who in our some of our viewers who might have that science background, maybe could explain a little bit of this.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
So I'm going to tell you in the audience, you brought this up in the last episode, what I told the hotel when they asked me what I thought when I finally checked out and left. And I looked at them and I said, Hotel Defuniak is as haunted as a hotel can be.
That's a good answer.
Whether or not you think that a hotel can be haunted, that's your opinion. Whether you think it's the most haunted hotel you've ever seen on a show, again, that's for you to decide. But my final statement on it is it's as haunted as a hotel can be.
Okay. So you've seen it all? Tell us. Is it haunted? Or is it BS?
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And we'll see you on the next adventures of BS Paranormal Investigations.